Welcome to Rauta's Black Metal reviews here on Underground Trio. This time we have three different albums that are all black metal and all from Purity Through Fire. These are later part of 2023, so still quite fresh from the oven, even if not December or January releases. This time we'll take a trip to UK, Finland and Brazil. And because this Underground Trio episode always goes in my personal worst to best, we'll start with the least good of these albums. And mind you, these are all a little bit different styles of black metal. So one style could be right up your alley, while the next one could be like, okay, that's a little bit too different. Or then you might just like all of these. So pay attention if you're a black metal fan. You are kind of likely to like at least some of them. Mind you, some of these bands have at least 3 albums out, some of them have like 1 or 2, so these are relatively unknown, but still not exactly doing their very first demo recording at this point. First we'll go to Brazil with the Kryptik with K, A Journey to the Darkest Kingdom. Now this is a band I've featured a couple of times on the channel. They're kind of a keyboard driven, more on the symphonic side of things when it comes to black metal. So not exactly the rawest kind of black metal, but more into the let's get atmospheric, let's let keyboards do the talking along the guitars. Actually their previous works have been pretty decent, so pretty good. This time however I feel like they've gone too far for a couple of reasons. Mind you, this is not a bad album, let's get that aside, but there is something that I find that the band has gone too far with this particular album. First of all, this runs for almost 70 minutes, which is usually for any kind of music way too much. When it comes to black metal album, I would say just trim it down some 20-30 minutes and you're good to go. Why so? Well, let's try to describe this. This is very keyboard driven album. That is, guitars are definitely more on the background than with their previous works, and it's just leaning on synthesizer, or well, you guessed it, more synthesizers. This is as if Limbic art made love to bands like Odium or early Emperor, maybe a little bit Warcraft and Hermoder and Kalaman in the mix. Yes, it's all about creating the cosmic atmosphere. It's all about letting the keyboard do the talking. So, not exactly as symphonic as, say, Emperor or Odium or Vagrab, but more into the sides of, Hermoder and Kalaman. But because this is more done with keyboards than, say, Kalaman, it's kind of a between these different styles here. But doing that for 69 minutes with songs that sometimes way too often go beyond 10 minutes mark. It's like sometimes you need to stop. Sometimes you need to focus that the songs are more structured better. This is like an epic journey that seems to never end. For some people it's a blessing. I mean, you all know those drinking nights and you wish they would never end. They would last for a week and you only have so many hours before it's all done. Whereas this one is like it's just running and you're running out of booze. Now, like I said, for some people, 69 minutes of keyboard-driven black metal is a blessing in disguise. For a lot of us, it's kind of a drag. Not bad, but I would still say the other albums by the Kryptik are better. Then we have Noidva from Finland with Lappish Shatanism. This is a wordplay, not shamanism or satanism, but shatanism. And of course, as the title suggests, this is a tribute or homage, things happening in Lapland, very northern part of Finland, Norway and Sweden. But of course, this coming from Finland is more maybe taking notes on the Finnish side of things. Sami people and Northern Lights and, shamanistic takes coming from that part of the world. Now, the previous album was kind of a green black metal, married with a little bit of a weird Lappish twists. This is putting basically the same ideas, green black metal, more together with melodic take of black metal, mid-tempo and fast, and then adding quite a bit of folk metal tunes into it. Now, a lot of people won't say it's not exactly folk metal tunes, but I would say this is as much Laplandish folk black metal as bands like Helheim and Enslaved are Viking black metal things. So kind of a Finnish way to do the similar thing. Instead of Vikings, you have Laplandic shamans and whatnot. It's kind of a melodic all the way through, but there are parts where it's just get those folky tunes out there, and it's almost like happy tunes sometimes. It's not too lengthy, so it's like rather compact in that sense, but I would say it's sometimes overly melodic for my personal taste. That is not to say that you might not enjoy it, but I would prefer in this case the previous album. This is kind of like too folky, too melodic for me, so my sweet tooth is just going overboard and dying. But if you don't mind melodic black metal done in grim ways and adding those folky elements there, go ahead. Noidva is something different, so compared to the band members' other bands like Sacrificium Carmen, it's different. Sacrificium Carmen is more like traditional Finnish black metal take, where this goes more into melodic and, like I said, folkier stuff. Not for everybody, but those who don't mind that kind of seasoning, go for Noidva. And then in my opinion, the best of the pile, this one is Úlfarr / Malfeitor split release. And this has a powerful image. This woman is posing here with, with breasts out in there in the open with the zeros kind of stuff. It's like taking back to the early Dark Thronian thing with a powerful black metal pose. I don't know why I feel this empowering, but indeed it is like that. And the bands in question here is Úlfarr with a few songs, followed by Malfeitor with amount of songs here. And this is aggressive, kind of a grim, not super raw, but definitely on the rawer side of things rather than, nice and clean, soothing side of things. So whatever you're doing with your more atmospheric, melodic, and, folkier kind of things, this is more like, let's get aggressive, let's get ritualistic, let's get drunk, and let's get it satanic. And featuring two bands, of course, there is always competition. Which one is the better? Which one does things weird and which one does the right thing? Are both bands good? I would say in this case, and this is not too common by the way, both bands are good. And they both are rather similar in style, that they are really, really fitting together. They are doing the stuff with rather grim take. And as such, in my opinion, this is kind of a purest form, true blood black metal, in my opinion, how it should be. It's not apologetic, it's not nice, it's not clean, it's not, symphonic, it's not filled with clean vocals, too much keyboards or whatever. It's like sticking to the basic guns of black metal since the 90s. But there's a distinction, difference between these two, of course. I mean, they are not carved from the same tree. They might be from the same forest, if you get the weird metaphor here. But I would say there are two trees, and while they are relatively close one another, Malfeitor is a little bit better. It's just some buttons that they push better than Úlfarr. But that is not to say like there's a big difference. I can actually enjoy both of these bands and say, yeah, they are good. But gun pointing at my temple like, Jerry, pick your favorite. I'm like, okay, it's Malfeitor. Because sometimes you really have to make the judgment. But this is very, very well-balanced split release. And in my opinion, clearly the best one of this pile. But like I said, these are all different styles. So you might prefer more symphonic keyboard-driven take. You might prefer the more melodic, folkier take. Or if you prefer the grim take, this is one to go. Now, links are provided in the description box. Go check them out and find your favorite. I hope you like all of these. But in case not, at least now you know the differences. Off you go, some good releases, and of course these are out as digital as well as physical formats. So go and enjoy and stay metal.